And a very warm welcome to the Qatar Sports Club for today's Group D encounter between the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the United Arab Emirates. Many considering North Korea and the UAE to be the make-weights in this particular section, but a glance at the FIFA ranking suggests this section is more evenly balanced than many believe. Iran and Iraq may grab the headlines, but North Korea have just competed at a World Cup, and the UAE are a resurgent force, having won the Gulf Under-23 Cup and held Australia to a goalless draw in the build-up. Indeed, Sretsko Katanets, the UAE coach, believes his team could be a dangerous dark horse at this competition and put an end to their recent record of underachievement on the regional stage. North Korea are, as ever, an unknown quantity. The secretive nature of the country means we know little of many of their players, but the new coach, Jo Tong-sop, has admitted he won't vary too much from the defensive type of approach that worked in World Cup qualifying for the previous incumbent, Kim Jong-un. So we're just awaiting the arrival of the two teams. The flag bearers making their way out onto this pristine surface here at the Qatar Sports Club. Quite a few have travelled from the neighbouring UAE. In fact, there was a little bit of a diplomatic incident when the UAE contingent arrived in Qatar. There was no official delegation there to meet them, but the UAE officials have brushed that off, saying they feel at home here, so there's no need for any official welcome. The UAE, who made the final of the Asian Cup in 1996, fourth place as well back in 1992, but knocked out of the group stage of the last two tournaments, and many feel that they might just be dangerous dark horses, not only in this group, but perhaps for the competition itself. As for the North Koreans, who've got a few supporters here themselves, well, they, of course, had to qualify via the AFC Challenge Cup, the tournament for second-tier nations. They did that with ease back in February of 2010. Although it does rather beg the question why a team that competed at the World Cup last year had to qualify through a second-tier tournament. But there you go. They're here nonetheless, and about to make just their third appearance on the regional stage. So the match ball in readiness, and the stadium and the fans await the teams of North Korea and the United Arab Emirates.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. السيدات والسادة يرجى الوقوف عند عزف النشيد الوطني لمنتخب الجمهورية الشعبية لكوريا الشمالية. of United Arab Emirates. والآن مع نشيد الوطني منتخب الإمارات العربية المتحدة.
Ilham Biladi, the United Arab Emirates anthem, belted out loud and proud by the large contingent of Emiratis here inside the Qatar Sports Club. Let's have a look at the two-team lineups. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea, their starting 11, a mix of the established stars that went to the World Cup, including goalkeeper Ri Myung-guk, their playmaker and captain Hong Yong-jo, and their star striker, of course, Jong Tae-se. And younger talents as well, like Kim Kuk-jin, still just 22, but one of the few North Koreans to play in Europe. He's been in Switzerland for 2 years now, first with Concordia Basel, and now with FC Will. The emphasis in this team, though, very much on structure. Our officials today, the referee, Mohd Salleh Subkhiddin, a teacher by day in his native Malaysia, and his two assistants are Mu Yuchin from China and Mohd Sabri, who is also from Malaysia.
Okay, all the best. Have a good game. Photo, please.
Now, the United Arab Emirates make two changes from the side that drew in the recent friendly with Australia. Khalid Sabel will play on the right side of defence, while fit-again winger Ismail Al-Hamadi replaces Mahmoud Khamis. Ismail Matar is the team's creative star, and watch out too for the free kicks of Subeid Carter, the captain who's just announced he will retire at the end of this Asian Cup. That is Jo Tong-sop, the North Korean coach. He's only been in charge for 2 games, but he's already tasted success in Qatar, beating the local national team in a friendly here on New Year's Eve. And Sretsko Katanets, of course, famous for taking Slovenia to the World Cup, and he also had a spell in charge of Macedonia. Now he wants to put the UAE back on the map, and that starts today. So it's the UAE get us back underway. North Korea back on the Asian Cup stage for the first time since 1992. And strangely enough, they're back where they left off against the UAE. That game 19 years ago ended in a 2-1 win for the Emiratis. Are you expecting a similar result today, Andy Harper?
Well, it's a stronger North Korea outfit nowadays. And I think they'll come into this game with a huge point to prove, given the deplorable manner in which they exited the World Cup. 1 goal for, 12 against, 3 defeats. Things started so promisingly too, with a strong performance against Brazil at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. But it all went pear-shaped after about 55 minutes against Portugal in Game 2. And from there, it's been a matter of waiting for an opportunity.
Might be an opportunity here for the United Arab Emirates. Ismail Al-Hamadi waiting to pounce on any weakness in the header from Cha Jong-hyuk.
Yeah, to try and save some face. It's a big thing in Asian football, Asian culture, and North Korea looking to from the Olympic Games qualification process for Beijing 08.
This is Cha Jong Kyok. Play on the right-hand side of a back four. At least that's what we think. It's difficult to know, really, with the North Koreans. Their football doesn't get a huge amount of exposure overseas. The exception, I suppose, being Jong Tae-se, who's now playing in the Bundesliga with Bochum. And famously blubbed his way through the national anthem, of course, at the World Cup in South Africa. There were no tears today, though.
He's had a terrific time of it, hasn't he, at Bochum? 8 goals already this season, 5 in his first 8 starts for Bochum. Transferring, of course, from Kawasaki Frontale. Japanese-born Jong Tae-se.
Yeah, there's a few of those in the North Korean side. Chongryeon Koreans, they're called. Born overseas, but educated through North Korean schools. And the case of Jong Tae-se in particular is interesting, given that he also holds a South Korean passport, but he has North Korean citizenship. So go figure. This is Khalid Sebil for the United Arab Emirates. Handan Al-Kamali. This is Amar Abdul Rahman. The Emirates have shown in their recent friendlies that perhaps they're going to be a force to be reckoned with at this tournament. They're regular qualifiers, Andy, for the regional competition. This is their 8th appearance in total, but they don't always achieve perhaps what they might at the Asian Cup.
Now, you just do wonder when one of the Gulf countries, with all the money that goes into football, and they do love their football, but apart from wrestling with other Gulf nations in Gulf Cups, etc., and West Asian Football Federation Championships, the actual Asian Continental Championship still seems to be some way off from them, and you do wonder when they're going to break through. We do know in Asia, as with the world of football in general, it's the big countries with the big resources that tend to dominate. That's certainly true in Asia. Japan, 3 times champions. Iran, Saudi, 3 times champions. South Korea, twice champions. It will be a big news story when a Qatar or a UAE, a Bahrain or an Oman actually break through and win the Asian Cup, but they're going to have to do it at some point, or else what are they spending all the money for?
This is Khalid Sebil, looking for the dangerous Ismail Mata. Broken up by the North Koreans, who have it in the shape of Cha Jong Kyok. Now with Riang Yong-ri. Late challenge on Kim Kuk-jin. And a bit of a stern talking to from the official. Yusuf Jabba with the late tackle.
We're looking forward to watching Ismail Al-Hamadi play for the UAE today. Came off the bench against Australia. Hugely dynamic down that right-hand side. He'll have a tough game against Shah. A very strong customer down the right-hand side for North Korea. Pivotal contest, that one.
Here is Cha. Just about manages to get it away from the grasp of Ismail Al-Hamadi. Infield is Kim Kuk-jin. Now to the left for John Kwangik. Korea looking to hit Jong Tae-se, who goes down in the box, and the referee awards the penalty kick. Not much doubt about it. A clear push. There's going to be a card issued too to Handan Al-Kamali. But there was no question in the referee Subkhiddin Mohd Salleh's mind that that was a penalty kick, and I think it's the right decision.
Well, there was no doubt whatsoever. It was clumsy piece of defending. Beautiful work. Instinctive work between the two key strikers. Hong, the captain, with the no-look overhead pass to Jong Tae-se. And Hamdan Al-Kamali clattering into the back of the Bochum striker.
And it's Hong Yong-jo with a chance to give the North Koreans an early lead here at the Qatar Sports Club. Oh, he's hit the crossbar. What a let-off for the United Arab Emirates. Hong Yong-jo looks so confident as he strode up to take that kick, but he's grazed the woodwork, and an early chance, a golden chance for the North Koreans goes begging. Well, he struck it cleanly enough, Andy Harper.
Well, almost hit it too well, didn't he, Simon? Oh, nothing wrong with the way he addressed the ball, just leaning a little too much to his left as he struck it, left and back. And that was all part of the deception, of course. Keeper ended up going the right way, but was beaten. Golden opportunity wasted by North Korea. The captain taking the responsibility from the spot.
Well, he scored a penalty in World Cup qualifying against South Korea, but he couldn't put it past Majid Nasser on that occasion. In 1992, the last time North Korea scored a goal at the Asian Cup finals, and that 19-year hiatus is going to be extended at least for a few more minutes yet. Maybe that will give the Emiratis some confidence.
Well, they've been pretty sloppy in the opening exchanges of the UAE. I guess best highlighted by that challenge from Hamdan Al-Kamali. Completely at sea. It's been all North Korea. Anything meaningful, anything that resembles some flowing football has come from the North Korean team. Maybe now the UAE can settle a little bit, get a couple of touches on the ball, work their way into the game. They've got a number of clever players, a fellow on the ball in particular, Amir Abdul Rahman. He's a good link man at the base of that midfield, very tidy on the ball as we can see. Hasn't got a bad quaff on him either.
It's a good Barnett. Voted one of the top players at the FIFA World Youth Championships just a couple of years ago. Small in stature, but big in talent.
There's a big game today required from the number 17 in North Korea. Young-hak plays in the J-League. But he'll have to do that job in front of the back four, where Ismail Mata will very frequently drop off the front line and try and pick up some possession.
Here is Ismail Mata. Ahmed Khalil sniffing for the opportunity. Neatly dealt with by the Koreans, who bring it away here through Kim Kuk-jun. And here's the man who missed the penalty, Hong Yong-jo, the North Korean skipper. Support from Ryang Yong-ri. And a clever attempt on goal from Jong Tae-se. Never going to trouble Majid Nasser, but he is going to be a handful, isn't he, for the United Arab Emirates defence? And Shrevsko Katanets his side. Going to have to keep tabs on him.
No question. Good work out of midfield from Ryang Yong-gi. Nice ball to the near post. Chong Tae-se had just made his run a little earlier. It's a very tight angle. But even the instinct with his hip flexed to try and cushion the ball towards the near post. There's plenty about this player to be excited. Australian fans will remember him, of course, from the Champions League of a couple of years back. Part of that Kawasaki Frontal team that gave the Mariners a complete lesson at Blue Tongue Stadium. Mariners, to their credit, bounced back well in the away leg.
Seem to remember him scoring against Melbourne Victory as well. Might be wrong. That's a clear trip from Cha. And referee immediately goes to the top pocket. issues the second yellow card of the game. You're right, Andy, that's going to be some contest down at this near touchline, isn't it, between Char and Al-Hamadi?
He's got plenty of speed. You wouldn't mind having a clock on Al-Hamadi. I'd reckon he'd be one of the faster players in the tournament, and there's plenty of quick blokes here. But he's a real flyer. Char beaten to the punch there.
First chance for us to see Suheim Carter's delivery from the set piece. Oh, it's an awkward one, and the goalkeeper's only got half a punch on it. Ahmed Khalil with the attempted overhead. Wasn't the most convincing goalkeeping by Ri Myong-guk.
Oh, not what you'd expect from someone of his experience and quality. All things going so nicely for North Korea. Ellis Park, the World Cup, holding Brazil at bay until the Maikon overlap, shot to the near post, and Ri Myong-guk found wanting on that occasion. So he is fallible. Thankfully, most goalkeepers are.
Well, if there weren't, no goals would ever be scored, would there? Here's Al-Hamadi, who's just had it taken off his toe by An Yong-hak. And this is Jong Tae-se. That's good football by the North Koreans. Looking for Jong Tae-se again, and he managed to get in there ahead of the defender. It was Yusuf Jabba.
Well, he's a bull, isn't he? As well as everything else. Very physical. And Yusuf Jabba had the front position, and it counted for little. And it does count for little when Jong Tae-se's around. Ball swung in from John Kwang-ik. Had a nice loop on it too. Very sweet left foot. Can't be missed. He's got the fluorescent yellow boots on.
Both these sides have had good success at junior level in recent times. UAE winning the Gulf Under-23 Cup and getting the silver medal at the Asian Games. Incidentally, where they defeated North Korea on penalties 9-8 after a goalless draw in the quarterfinals. And the North Koreans, of course, for their part, champions of Asia at under-16 and under-19 level. That's a good tackle from Suheim Carter, and had to be too, because a fine overlapping run from Cha Jong-hyuk.
That's perfect coverage from the skipper. We're yet to see him unleash one of his free kicks. They're a real feature, but he covered that brilliantly. Nice lead-up play again from North Korea. They're looking to be in fine fettle at the moment.
Kim Kuk-jin to deliver the corner, left-footed. And that's a good claim from Majid Nasser. Good shout too. We heard the cry of keepers from here. Do all keepers shout in English across the world?
It's the universal language.
This is Khalid Sabel. Down the line for Ali Al-Wahabi. This is Sabel again, plays for the Al Jazeera club. Walid Abbas. Patient build-up by the United Arab Emirates. Now they'll inject, or at least try to inject, a little bit of pace. Suheim Carter's touch, Ahmad Abdul Rahman. He's trying to move the North Koreans around. Ismail Matar. And, clear body check on Khalid Sabel.
Well, it was good patient play from the UAE. They worked the ball from left to right. It was pretty slow moving up the field. In the end, they've won the free kick. We'll get to see Subkhiddin now, the skipper, whip in one of these free kicks of his. It's a real weapon for the UAE. It's a clear foul. Pak Nom Chol with eyes only for the man as the ball rolled helplessly away.
By the way, your eyes are not deceiving you. There are 2 Pak Nom Chols on the park today playing for North Korea, numbers 4 and 14. One a defender, one a midfielder. Here is the Emirates skipper with the free kick. Headed clear by Ri Kwang Chon. Here's Jong Tae-se, known affectionately as Acorn Head, I'm told, amongst the North Korean fans, due to his rather spiky haircut. This is Ahmed Khalil trying to unleash. And a real up and under. The goalkeeper's going to have to come and fist this clear. He's not got any distance, and he gets a little bit lucky on the rebound. The shot from Ismail Al-Hamadi. He's not been too convincing, hasn't he, Ri Myong-guk?
Very lucky. Extremely poor goalkeeping. This is from a guy who kept 10 clean sheets in 15 qualifying matches for the last World Cup. North Korea only conceded 7 goals in 16 matches. This was the rock upon which their qualification was built. But there's been few signs of that from the goalkeeper's viewpoint in this opening 20-odd minutes. He's only just got contact there, and he had no idea about the shot that came back in from Ismail Al-Hamadi. Lucky at both ends of the field. Well, unlucky at one, I should say, with a squandered penalty chance. Should be a goal up, and they're very fortunate in some ways not to be a goal down with a less than convincing goalkeeping.
Well, he came out for that ball like he was grasping for the light switch in the dark. That's a good ball. Jong Tae-se, very assured first touch, and breaking through is Hong Yong-jo. North Koreans, of course, have had a change of coach since their World Cup excursion. Previous incumbents, Kim Jong-hun, was summarily removed. Allegations that the North Koreans had to undergo some public humiliation in Pyongyang following their first round exit. Lost all 3 games, of course, although that is disputed. FIFA investigation found that it wasn't true.
Well, it can't have been all bad because the current coach, Joe Tong-sok, was the assistant in South Africa. He was also the coach of that team that played off against Australia for the final Asian spot at the Beijing Olympics. He knows all these players very, very well indeed.
And here goes their star man, Jong Tae-se. Hong Yong-jo, the captain. North Korea looking dangerous. Oh, and Jong Tae-se's cross comes short. Cannoned off the ankle of his skipper and behind harmlessly for a goal kick.
He just couldn't get out of the way of that one, Hong Yong-jo.
I think he was actually trying to angle the foot to steer it towards goal, but just really didn't have time enough to react.
Too fast.
Ismail Al-Hamadi backed into a corner, but almost finding a teammate in Ahmed Khalil.
And from whom they're getting nothing at the moment. Ahmed Khalil, the number 11, he's got plenty of toe about him as well. The youngster with huge raps on him. A lot of the locals are expecting him to be one who breaks through into Europe, but few signs of it here today. He's certainly almost a spectator. Second to most possessions.
Maybe that's about to change. Here he is. Oh, he's got a shot on goal and almost catching Reem Yong-guk unawares.
Keeper continues to look dozy today. Reem Yong-guk, regulation piece of goalkeeping work, but his early efforts going to make for some nervous viewing for North Korea fans. Has not convinced.
Almost at the midway point through the first half here at the Qatar Sports Club. North Korea have missed a penalty, if you're just tuning in, through their captain Hong Yong-jo, after Jong Tae-se was barged over by Hamdan Al-Kamali. This is Ismail Al-Hamadi, back for Ahmed Khalil. He was being compared to Samuel Eto'o. It's a big call. Not a bad ball inside the box. Ahmad Abdul Rahman was about to let fly there. Then a real shack up the boot. Chance here for Ismail Matar. And the goalkeeper, Reem Yong-guk, has redeemed himself. Good save. After his earlier nervousness.
Well, he came to the team's rescue when the team needed him because it was comical defending until then. He thought Amir was going to get the shot there. It was whipped off his feet. Cha with a terribly skewed clearance, if you can call it that. And Reem Yong-guk to the rescue.
Khalid Sabil running the ball out of play. That'll be a throw-in for North Korea. And that's pretty much the busiest moments that the Emirates have had in terms of fluency in the final third.
And a better sign from Ahmed Khalil as well. Just the pivotal moment in that last series of attacks of what really destabilised North Korea. They struggled to rebalance. Pretty much had the run of it in this opening 25 minutes.
Of course, the clash that's going to make all the headlines in this particular group comes up a little bit later. Iraq against Iran. Out at Al Rayyan. Oh, that's a lovely turn by Ismail Al-Hamadi. And the challenge from behind produces the free kick from Riang Yong-ri.
There's going to be a yellow card for delaying the restart.
Issued to Pak Nam-chol. That's Pak Nam-chol, who's wearing number 14, not number 4. Beautiful turn, though, from Ismail Al-Hamadi. He's got real pace.
He can play.
And a very low centre of gravity, as you might expect. He's only 5 feet 5.5 inches tall. Another chance here for Subek Carter to whip in one of those dangerous free kicks. Gets a lot of dip and swerve on his delivery. Oh, and he's put it right into the danger zone. It's headed just over by Hamdan Al-Kamali. But they're almost undefendable, those deliveries.
That's a belter. That's perfect. It's perfect. Millimetre perfect delivery. Hamdan Al-Hamadi, who conceded the penalty at the start of the first half, had a great opportunity to send his team in front. If you're an Emirati player, from free kicks like that, you just continue to make that run in or around the penalty area because Subek Carter will find you. A very keenly tuned radar. That was a beautiful free kick.
Up it goes towards Ahmed Khalil. Good header won by Pak Nam-chol. This is Khalid Sabil. feel for Suheim Carter. Ismail Hamadi. Ahmed Khalil. UAE start to play a bit here, getting those little combination plays going. Took a while to warm up in this game, conceding that early penalty. Good work on the turn from Hamdan Al-Kamali. It's another free kick for the UAE. A push by Riang Yongri. Ismail Matar. And even the tempo has quickened from the team in red. Al-Hamadi. He's been one of the standout players on the park so far. It's taken 2 defenders to keep him quiet, and eventually he kicks with the wrong foot and then accidentally chops the Korean defender as well.
Well, it's one of those moments. He is ostensibly a right-footed player. Playing down the left-hand side to huge effect, but when those situations get tight, his lack of a left foot becomes more of an issue. But the UAE have wrested control of the football match. No surprise that Ismail Mata is getting more and more of the ball. The more he feels like playing, the better the chances for the UAE.
This is Pak Nam Chol for the North Koreans. Headed clear by Walid Abbas, and now the break is on for the UAE. North Korea had committed numbers forward there. Ismail Al-Hamadi threads it through for Ahmed Khalil. Good opportunity here. He's trying to bend it round the goalkeeper, Ahmed Khalil, and it's not too far away. A super counter-attack from the UAE.
Well, their good players are starting to look good, aren't they? And finally, we're seeing some of the form from Ahmed Khalil. That took a deflection too. Should have been a corner. He got behind the North Korean defence nicely. Pak Nam Chol having to turn and chase. And Ahmed Khalil setting the ball up nicely on his right foot. It was a good idea.
I got a bagpiper in the stand. Didn't know they were a traditional instrument in the UAE. Perhaps you can enlighten me, Hubs.
No.
Maybe he's just got Scottish ancestry.
I'm going to say you don't see too many red-headed, fair-skinned people with kilts and sporrans around this part, unless I'm missing something.
Suheim Carter. Always at the centre of the play for the UAE. Their talisman and captain. This is Khalid Sebil. Loves to get forward from that right full-back position. Again, good patient build-up by the UAE. You can see the influence of Shrezko Katanets on this team, Andy.
Yeah, I think he's a super coach. He's the type of coach who can bring the discipline that a country with the track record of UAE really needs. And they've got a lot of promise. You only have to look at the type of player on the field today, Ismail Mata. He's a super footballer. And when he's in full cry and teammates around him are starting to function, he's close to as good as you can see. Taking out, of course, the very top practitioners like your Messis and your Xavis, etc. But a super player. You just need a coach.
Now, here is Ismail Matar on the volley, just wide. Well, that sort of underlines the point. It was the Balkan style of how the UAE built up from the back there, and then eventually, when they found the space, Ismail Matar almost providing the perfect finish.
Well, you think about the good football countries around the world through history. You've named the Balkans. There's a lot of the Dragan Stojkovic in the way Ismail Mata plays. There's a lot of the Abidi Pillay in the way Ismail Mata plays. He's just got to deliver more for his country. Commensurate with his talent, he was fed a beautiful ball by Amir Abdul Rahman then. The UAE firmly in control of this football match. They were, without being under the pump, second best for the opening quarter hour, 20 minutes, but it's all red at the moment. And they're looking good.
And all the noise in the stands coming from the UAE supporters, of which there are a fair few. Hamad Abdul Rahman just threading it through. Ismail Matar. Now Khalid Sebel. That'll be a corner.
Terrific stuff. Really, really terrific play, the UAE. In the middle of it is Amir Abdul Rahman. He's the complete metronome for this team. He's setting the tone, the pace, the direction. When he decides, then he releases Ismail Matar and he starts to wave his wand in the final third. It's been a very impressive 10 minutes or so from the UAE.
Now a little breather as Paknam Chol spreads it wide right.
It's hard to believe. These two teams were in the same group, the final stage of World Cup qualifying. The UAE finished with a solitary point. Of course, North Korea qualified for the World Cup. You'd think it's a role reversal here totally over the last 15 minutes.
Beat them home and away, of course, as well, the North Koreans. UAE at that stage run to Bruno Metsu, who's got his own issues in this Asian Cup. Now in charge of Qatar, of course, the hosts. Here's another look at that opportunity for Ahmed Khalil. And credit to the central defender, Ri Kwang Chon. Just threw himself in the way of the ball. Is it fair to say, Andy, that these two are the outsiders in this group? I mean, everybody's talking about Iran and Iraq,
yeah.
But, you know, the FIFA rankings, not that different for all four teams.
No, you're right, Simon, but the Iraq, defending champions, still with the core of the team that won it 4 years ago. Iran, 3 times champions, they haven't won it for 35 years or something. They're looking to do something this time round, and just by sheer force of the history and size of Iranian football, they have to be favourites to go through. And North Korea, on this evidence, aren't going to trouble too many teams, but of course that can change in an instant. They might just be having a rough period. They look a little dishevelled at the moment. But UAE, the way they're looking at the moment, over this last quarter hour, 20 minutes, it's a very good building block for them.
And here's a chance perhaps for Ali Al-Wahabi. Again, he just can't dig it out. But some of the approach play from the UAE is delightful.
Now, this was poor finishing, though. This was a guy who'd run out of an idea. He'd made the run. It was a good run, too. It was beautifully found by Ismail Matar. But he completely cooked his goose when he got there. Had no idea what he was going to do. Mexican wave going around on the far side.
or an Arabic wave, perhaps we could call it.
With all the dish dashes, it looks like a snowstorm. Quite a sight.
This is Hamad Abdulrahman, who's called this game a championship within a championship this afternoon. Says it's so vital the UAE get off to a winning start. Here he is on the ball, the diminutive number 5. Does look as though he spent a few hours at the barbers on that hairdo.
He's got a thing for disco, I hear.
Yusuf Jabbar. Ismail Matar, no space to manoeuvre. Takes 2 Koreans to dispossess it. Now Jong Tae-se.
Well, for as good as the UAE have got at the moment, they've got to be vigilant because Jong Tae-se will hurt them.
He actually looks a class above, doesn't he, Jong Tae-se? As you might expect, somebody playing at the very highest level in Germany. Looks very, very dangerous. But you've still got to get the ball to him.
They call him in his parts the people's Wayne Rooney, which is interesting because he prefers to idolise Didier Drogba. He's the man he wants to be.
Either would do me.
Yeah. I wouldn't complain either, I'm with you.
Well, he's certainly of that ilk, isn't he? Very physically strong. Good touch. Probably fair to say that both Rooney and Drogba play with better players alongside them. No disrespect to the North Koreans.
Well, I reckon North Korea really need to ramp things up. They've slowly but surely dropped off the pace more and more. The UAE having the complete run of it.
This was the expected pattern, though, before the game started. Srensko Katanec saying that they will sit deep. I think he actually called them almost deceptively slow and almost disinterested, but then they hit you, he says, on the counter-attack. So when you've got a player like Jong Tae-se, then it's always a possibility, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's why they have to remain vigilant. There's no doubt about that. But I just think they're playing an unnecessarily risky game by pretty much giving everything up to the UAE. Because they've got their own danger men, as we've seen. Compare the pace or lack of it in this game compared to some of the belting matches we've seen so far in the Asian Cup. There is going to be a time at some point where North Korea are going to have to flick the switch.
Or maybe it's now. This is Jong Tae-se. And it goes to Pak Nam-chol. Now Jong Kwang-ik. They combine down the left. And it goes towards Jong Tae-se. And a nod down, not too far away from teammate Riang Yong-ri. No mistake that he's the outlet for North Korea. Ball clearance straight to An Yong-hak, who's another one of the overseas brigade for North Korea, plays in Japan for Kashiwa Reysol. Another one of the Chongryeon Koreans. That's with Cha Jong-hyuk, who is in Switzerland with FC Will. Given away by Ismail Al-Hamadi. Almost dropped for Hong Yong-jo. Just a bit of nervousness defensively by the United Arab Emirates. They're quickly back on the attack now, though. Ismail Matar has Ahmed Khalil for supports, but only he. And the Koreans had 5 players in a white jersey back to block the effort. Still they come, the UAE, through Ali Al-Wahabi. Now Hamad Abdulrahman just trying to thread it through. Handball against Khalid Sable, surely accidental in the opinion of Subkhiddin Mohd Salleh, the Malaysian referee. And calm is restored for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea as Kim Kuk-jin goes on a mazy dribble in field. Now with Jong Kwang-ik. Back out wide right for Cha Jong-hyuk. Just left a little short by teammate Pak Nam-chol. Oh, that's a loose touch from the UAE skipper Subkhiddin. Might be made to pay. Kim Kuk-jin. Down he goes on the edge of the box, but referee, despite having a good long look at it, decides that there was no foul. Signs of life, perhaps, from the North Koreans. Now there's yawning space on the left for the UAE. Ismail Al-Hamadi. Oh, there was a man free on the left. Yusuf Jabba. Why didn't he use him, Andy Harper?
I don't speak Arabic, Simon. I've got no idea what the communication was there. The only thing we can assume is that he just didn't look. He completely blindsided himself by the way he carried that football. Either that, it was just rank ignorance. It was a silly piece of play because there was enormous space for Yusuf Jabir to exploit.
Pak Nam-chol for North Korea inside the centre circle. Now Hong Yong-jo was away, but the referee has picked up a foul, I'm presuming by Jong Tae-se. Yep, there he was on Walid Abbas. Little kick to the thigh. There are signs of frustration on the face of Shrezko Katanets. His side has, in the main, dominated as we approach half-time.
Well, both teams can rightly say they should have at least one goal. North Korea squandered a penalty chance in the 8th minute. The UAE have been in front of North Korea's goal on more than one occasion with good opportunity. A less than ideal pass there from Ismail Al-Hamadi as Yusuf Jabir overlapped.
Given away by Subkhiddin. Jong Kwang-ik and Ali Al-Wahabi. A bit of a wrestling match, and it's the UAE who get the decision.
So we're going to get Subkhiddin Carter special to send us into half-time. Clear free kick. Jong Kwang-ik barrelling over Ali Al-Wahabi. The troops are amassed in the North Korean penalty area.
1 minute of injury time to be played at the end of the first period. Could be the last action of the half. It's a deep one, and here's the chance for the UAE, and it's over the top from Yusuf Jabir.
Well, again, no conviction. This is an unfamiliar free kick, really, from Carter. It looped in the air. It's a nice header square. Yusuf Jabir has got a sweet left foot. Snatched at that somewhat.
So there we go, half-time at the Qatar Sports Club. It's been an interesting period. Hong Yong-jo, the North Korean captain, missing a penalty. And the UAE fighting back and having by far the better of the opportunities and the play in the first period. But at the interval, in the Qatari capital, it is goalless. North Korea 0, the UAE 0.
Well,
Andy Harper, your thoughts on the first period?
Well, I should think Sretsko Katanec would be reasonably satisfied with his team. They played to a nice system. There was some good passing. A couple of decisions that were made at times in attack let the team down, which would be frustrating him, but they made more than enough chances, and he should be very satisfied on that basis. Across the hallway in the other dressing room, Coach Joe for North Korea won't be so happy. His team should have taken a lead. His captain missed the penalty. If they're playing to plan, and that is to concede the game and the territory to the UAE, I suggest that that's going to have to change at some point soon, because you keep giving the UAE opportunities, the better they feel about these, the more confident they're going to get. Sooner or later, they're going to take one.
Well, the last meeting between the two nations at the Asian Games ended goalless, and that's the way it is here at half-time. That was the missed penalty from Hong Yong-jo, the North Korean captain. Struck it well enough, but saw his efforts rebound back off the woodwork. The North Koreans didn't make the brightest start. The opening 10 or 15 minutes, Andy, they were lively and well on top before the UAE found their rhythm.
Well, I thought they'd be too strong from this match. There's another look in longer form at the penalty. There's a clear penalty. There's no mistaking the fact it's a clear yellow card as well for Hamdan Al-Kamalian. It was looking at that point that the UAE were going to have a very, very long afternoon here at the Qatar Sports Club. Beautiful work from Hong Yong-jo. Instinctive no look over the head pass to Jong Tae-se, who was barrelling through and was barreled into for the penalty. And North Korea at this point were in total control, even though we were just 8 minutes in. And this would have put the icing on that cake, hit it too nicely, I guess you could say. The UAE survived. North Korea continued from that point to dominate, probably for the next 10 minutes or so. But gradually they dropped deeper and deeper, less intent on pressuring the ball. The UAE, with the type of players they've got and the temperament they've got, Simon, I just think it's too dangerous to invite them into the football match. It's much better against opponents like that to make sure they don't get any time and space at all.
It is the North Korean style, though. We've seen it before, isn't it? They concentrate very much on keeping a solid base at the back and then trying to play on the counter. And obviously, when you've got Jong Tae-se, that is an option.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. It just invites other teams on. Why do it when you've got dangerous weapons such as Jong Tae-se?
Yeah, well, maybe that's why it's almost the first time in 20 years they've been to the Asian Cup. You know, they've got to force the game on. They've got better players. You know, they've started exporting players to some good leagues, in particular the J League. They're learning what competitive professional football is all about. They bring that back to the national team setup. And it's without suggesting that they mount some sort of insurrection on the coaching staff, but they should be infusing North Korean national team football with more confidence to play their game, not just defend. You go to the World Cup, they play 4-5-1 or 5-4-1. You expect it against Brazil, Portugal, Ivory Coast. It was a hell of a group for them to confront. But you come to the Asian Cup, when you are a World Cup qualifier, and your opponent here today, the UAE, finished with 1 point in the final round of qualifying, and you still sit back and concede them the game, you don't want to match it with them in football terms. I don't buy it for a second. I don't think it's the way forward for North Korean football.
Yeah, you'd expect a little bit more of a swagger given they've just been to the World Cup in South Africa. Anyway, there we go. Half-time at the Qatar Sports Club. No goals, 8 shots on target for the UAE, just 3 for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. And you can see the possession stats, 63% in favour of the UAE. That's how much they've dominated, or, depending on your point of view, been allowed to dominate. We'll see if that continues in the second half, and hopefully we'll have a few goals as well. But at the interval at the Qatar Sports Club, it's the Democratic People's Republic of Korea 0, the United Arab Emirates 0. Join us for the second period in a few minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So welcome back to the Qatar Sports Club, where it's goalless at the interval of this Group D opener between North Korea and the United Arab Emirates. Perhaps not a surprising scoreline, given that the North Koreans conceded only 5 goals in their 8 World Cup qualifiers and their quest to get to South Africa, which is ultimately fruitful, of course. And the fact that the UAE have been kept scoreless in 4 of their last 6 internationals. Hong Yong-jo had the best chance, of course, that first half penalty that clattered back off the woodwork. But the UAE, by far the more impressive of the 2 outfits. They played some good football in that first half. Created a couple of chances as well. Which one of these 2 sides will be able to find the cutting edge in this second half? As nightfall approaches in the Qatari capital, it'll be North Korea to get us back underway. Doesn't look as though there have been any changes made by either coach as yet. So Subkhiddin Mohd Salleh gets us back underway with a sharp blast on the whistle. Might we see a slightly different approach from the North Koreans in this second half, do you think, Andy Harper?
Well, no changes at half-time, but one's not far off, which is going to make me wonder why the change wasn't made at half-time. But it's a North Korean player stripped and ready to make his way on the field. Ahn Chol-hyok. He's a left-sided forward. We'll see if that changes the structure. Certainly we'll see, irrespective of the substitution, if there's a change of attitude from North Korea. I'd be really, really surprised if they're happy to sit back and be punching bags in this tournament. And whilst they didn't leave the first half black and blue, certainly the football points without any goals went the way of the UAE.
Well, the points in the stands probably going to the Emirates team as well. Cheerleader with the megaphone. North Korean fans have a choreographer of their own. They're still away getting their half-time cup of tea, perhaps, as Ismail Al-Hamadi races forward for the UAE, feeds Ali Al-Wahabi. This is Khalid Sebil. Clearance by Pak Nom Chol. And now Hong Yong-jo, who's a very adept footballer. Needs a bit of help. Another one of the overseas brigade, plays in Russia for FK Rostov. Nothing comes of that particular manoeuvre. And here's the dangerous Ismail Al-Hamadi. Enjoyed watching him play in the first half. Good contest between he and Char down that flank. Ismail Matar to Ahmed Kadlil. A bit too narrow for the UAE. Jong Tae-se holds it up for the North Koreans. And field for An Yong-hak. They'll go long, looking for the run of Pak Nam-chol. Harmlessly away for a goal kick. Majid Nasser has really not had too much to do other than face that first half penalty kick. As the change is about to be made, it's interestingly enough the captain, Hong Yong-jo, who will be replaced. What do you make of that, Andy?
Well, I can only assume there's an injury of some sort. There was nothing particularly wrong with his play, unless that penalty, which we've just seen replayed again, is going to count against him. I should think not. He's gone straight to the dressing room. There'd have to be some sort of injury. He's one of their more potent weapons, captain of the team. A reasonably lively first half.
So the captain's armband has passed to the defender, Ri Kwang-chon. Given that he is one of their more influential players, you can only hope from the North Korean point of view that doesn't encourage them to sit back even more. Anyway, as you say, his replacement is like-for-like striker. Interesting story about An Chol-hyuk. We'll tell you that in a minute. Meantime, Subkhiddin Carter with those whipped-in, dangerous, dipping free kicks.
That's such a feature, aren't they? You'd be hugely surprised if that doesn't yield a goal or two before at least the group stages are finished. And of course, by definition, the UAE can manage to achieve that. They'd be on their way to some sort of second-round appearance.
First time in 3 Asian Cups if it does eventuate.
Well, they've got the Arsenal to cause trouble. We've seen enough of Ismail Matar over the years, and he's consolidating that with a good first half performance here. Amir Abdul Rahman next to the captain, Carter. Ismail Al-Hamadi up front. There's plenty about which to be excited with the UAE team.
Khalid Sebil's ball in is a dangerous one. Ismail Matar with a little touchback. Subkhiddin Carter drills it over the top.
Probably would have preferred it on his right foot, but his left didn't look weak at all. Didn't have time to readjust himself as the ball set up for him from Ismail Matar.
That story, by the way, about An Chol-hyuk. It was thought that during the World Cup he actually tried to defect. His name went missing from the official team sheets as being marked absent, but it was quickly cleared up that it was an administrative error by the North Koreans. They thought that they only could name 18 players for a World Cup. It was pointed out to them that they could in fact have 23, and he reappeared.
Well, the military problems aren't seemingly that far away from North Korean football. We're pretty lucky to have Jong Tae-se here. The paperwork submitted to the Deutsche Fußballbund too late, and apparently Bochum were well within their rights to keep him back at clubland, particularly because he is carrying a thigh injury at the moment. And a fair bit of diplomatic work went into securing their star striker. You'd reckon it'd be a case of once bitten, twice shy, but not so.
Free kick given. John Kwangik all over the top of Ismail Matar.
And worryingly for North Korea, the game is assuming the trend of the first half where Ismail Matar is leading the charge. That's a clear foul.
In fact, it was An Yong Hak, my mistake.
Well, there are two Emiratis lining up for this free kick. I'd be very surprised if the skipper isn't the bloke to unleash.
Subkhiddin Carter, you'd fancy, wants to take this one. A wall of 6 for the North Koreans. Ahmed Khalil will place it, but surely the skipper will have a dig from here. No, it is Ahmed Khalil. Well, he should have left it for the captain.
I agree with you, Simon. Didn't hold up well to the comparison whatsoever.
That was the earlier effort from Subkhiddin Carter. He can hit a dead ball, can't he? Even a moving one. They're going to miss him when he retires, which is going to eventuate at the end of this World Cup, or even Asian Cup. They come around so quick these days. So North Korea still on level pegging. This is Ahmad Abdul Rahman. Yusuf Jabbar. Now Ismail Al-Hamadi. Awkward for the captain of the Emirates. And now a chance for Pak Nam Chol for a rare foray into the UAE half. Khalid Sebil, good, strong, solid defensive work. Subkhiddin Carter telling his teammates to push up further forward. Now Ismail Matar! Oh, he really hit that one. A diminutive number 10, and it just didn't dip down enough in time.
Well, the invitation came in a pretty roundabout way, but he wasn't going to muck around. Ismail Matar, the instinct took over. Ri Myong-guk was scrambling. He's a nice footballer. And let's hope, not only for the sake of the UAE, but for the Asian Cup, that he reaches his best form in this tournament, because we'll all enjoy the spectacle if that's the case.
We're enjoying the noise being made by the UAE fans as well. Yes, we can, is the message. Well, why not? Iraq and Iran might have something to say about that, of course. Reminder, they meet later on at Al Rayyan. Meantime, Ismail Al-Hamadi trying to cause some more havoc down that left flank. The UAE fans desperately wanting a free kick. And it's the North Koreans who get it instead.
Well, I think they were more than a free kick. They were spitting blood at Yusuf Jabbar, who took this right off the foot of Ismail Al-Hamadi. It was a silly piece of play, really hard to explain. There's no foul there. Completely got their wires crossed. Much to the chagrin of the gathered Emirati supporters.
And there's only one remedy for that, Andy. That's a blast on the bagpipes. That's better by the North Koreans. Ryang Yong-ri breaking forwards. Now it's with Pak Nam Chol. Being pursued by Khalid Sebil. Not quite the same fluency about the Koreans when they go forwards. All the football really being played by the UAE. The North Korean contingents a little bit quiet on that far side. Maybe they'll make some noise here. Got a chance through the substitutes and Chol Hyok, but it's broken up. And away come the UAE in the shape of Ali Al-Wahabi. Ismail Hamadi. Ismail Mata. Well, it's all long-range stuff at the moment.
But he's in the mood. Ismail Mata's in the mood. I reckon his coach can sense it as well. There's, look, again, a couple of poor decisions as that attack broke upfield from the UAE. But were I in the dugout for the UAE, I wouldn't at all be perturbed to be seeing Ismail Mata taking these shots from distance. The more he's in the mood, the better our chances.
This is Paknam Chol, or at least one of them. Forward for An Chol Hyok. He's committed the foul on Walid Abbas. Rueful smile towards the Malaysian referee, but not much doubt about that one. Bit of a tug on the shorts. And Yong Hak. Now with Jong Kwang Ik. In field for An Yong Hak. No more than a hopeful ball forward though, really. Need to get Jong Tae-se more involved in the game. He had his little flashes of brilliance in the first half, Andy, but nothing more really in the second.
That's true. It's a fairly rudimentary approach so far from North Korea. It's the team in red that's playing all the football.
Ismail Al-Hamadi, who's been excellent in trying to thread it through for Ahmed Khalil. Too much weight on the pass.
They just don't look to have too much of an idea in North Korea. Apart from setting out their defence and playing on the slingshot out of that, crafting attacks isn't their go at the moment.
Another case in point. Walid Abbas up towards halfway, and Ismail Al-Hamadi draws the foul. Well, there's only one team really trying to win this one as we approach the hour mark. Shratsko Katalets, the edge of the technical zone, barking instructions. His opposite number, Joe Tong Sop, standing almost motionless.
I think the UAE are mixing it up quite nicely at the moment, Simon. I saw that last ball over the top for Ismail Mata, which went way too long, but he turned and applauded. The reason he applauded was because the UAE are mixing this up nicely. That sometimes they're going long, stretching the North Korean defence deep into their own territory, which is by definition opening up more space in the midfield. And then Amir Abdurrahman can come into the game more and link up with Ismail Al-Hamadi. It's good variation from the UAE.
Here is finally a touch for Jong Tae-se. And Yong Hak. Back for Paknam Chol. Now Kim Kuk-jin.
Just no ideas. Completely bereft of ideas, North Korea. They're looking to play off stolen possession or counter-attack. Very disappointing display so far.
But it's still goalless. They earned a lot of their points in World Cup qualifying through goalless or low-scoring draws. They kept themselves competitive without ever really impressing. But they're a tough side to score against, Andy.
Well, seemingly so. More by the poor finishing of the UAE in this game. then they're terrific defending. The goalkeeper, who's normally very reliable, I do buy that point. But Reem Yongguk had one terrific save, otherwise he's been very shaky.
And Chol Hyok, again a rather disappointing ball as he tried to seek out Kim Kook Jin. And instead it's the UAE who will build through Alma Abdul Rahman and now Walid Abbas.
Well, the challenge now for the UAE is to capitalise on this good lead-up play. It's an actual efforts on goal that forced the goalkeeper to work.
Khalid Sebil trying to carve out the opportunity. Subed Keita square. Alma Abdul Rahman. Now Ismail Matar, round one defender, but not the second, and he left the boot in on Ri Kwang Chon. Hence the free kick. He is a tricky player, isn't he? Ismail Matar, former Asian Player of the Year.
Well, all his work done around the centre circle, according to that hotspot. If you can translate the information, they're going to be better served when most of his activity is further up the field. That's where he can do his dangerous work. He is a lethal customer.
Push on Ali Al-Wahhabi. Ismail Al-Hamadi. Yusuf Jaba back down the line. Al-Hamadi goes deep for Ali Al-Wahhabi, and it comes off the defender. John Kwang-ik for another corner for the UAE.
Well, the overhit cross from Al-Hamadi, but again he showed his potency, cutting in from the left onto his right foot. A lateral run. The pass to Al-Hamadi just overhit. Al-Hamadi did well in the end. Al-Wahhabi rather, to force the corner,
which Subed Keita will take. Can he get the same delivery as he does on the free kicks? It's not a bad one towards the near post, but met powerfully by Jong Tae-se. Two white jerseys surround him, and it's the North Koreans who get the throw-in.
Well,
more frustration for the UAE.
Yeah, that was well defended for North Korea. The UAE had a good chance to get the ball back into the danger area. The North Koreans sent out a deputation to the flank, outnumbered Subed Keita, Ali Al-Wahhabi, and won possession back for themselves. That was a good piece of defending. Bigger problems at the other end of the field for North Korea. They're looking very disjointed in attack, if indeed somebody could even call it an attack.
Well, maybe they'll do better here. Here's the substitute, An Chol Hyok. And again, Jong Tae-se isolated. Feeding on scraps, isn't he, the Bochum striker? And as you remarked, Andy, not sure he's 100% fit. Rather laconically jogging back towards the halfway line.
Well, he'd kill for some scraps at the moment. Even some scraps. They're giving him nothing. We got one of the headline acts as a centre forward in the championship in Jong Tae-se, and his team can barely acknowledge his presence on the field with the way they're playing.
At least he's on the ball now. Square for Pak Nam Chol. Now John Kwang-ik. Cha Jong Hyok. Pak Nam Chol to An Chol Hyok. Decent spell of possession for the North Koreans, but then they rather ruin it by just again another hopeful prod towards the penalty box. It's the UAE who are far more incisive in attack. Well, at least until they get to the last third, that is.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is they're finding Park Nom Chol, the number 14 version, and Ri Kwong Chon just a little bit too much. Two very good central defenders. Now the case that could have been play on. Referee says no, free kick North Korea.
That's a good ball. Pak Nam Chol trying to shrug off Ali Al-Wahhabi. Back towards halfway, and Pak Nam Chol. Kim Kuk Jin drops the shoulder, gets past one defender, and that's all too often the story, isn't it?
Look at these two go now.
Now let's look at the space for Ali Al-Wahhabi. Subak Carter trying to make ground to offer support. Still Al-Wahhabi. Ismail Mata to Ismail Al-Hamadi. Can they forage a goal-scoring opportunity? And the answer is no. Just too strong. And look at that from the North Koreans.
Oh, that's awful. He knows it too. That UAE attack, the last one, very promising. Unfortunately, it fell into the feet of Ali Al-Wahhabi, who is a toiler on the right-hand side, covers a lot of territory, good defensively. But when he gets into those attacking areas, he really runs out of ideas pretty quickly. It was all downhill from there for the UAE from such a promising position. They come again.
They're getting great support from their fans on that far side. All the scarves and flags raised aloft. They're just unable to make the breakthrough.
This is amazing that they're watching a World Cup finals team here, Simon, in North Korea. For all intents and purposes, it's the same personnel. You have to pinch yourself. I think
this is the team that finished ahead of Iran.
Completely. This is the team that really did push Brazil at Ellis Park. We're at that game. And they were fantastic, brave, committed, fast, strong. They've been anything but here against the UAE. It's been a flaccid display, really, truly. And it's only going to get more difficult from here, you'd reckon, against Iran and Iraq.
Do you think perhaps Joe, the coach, has set his stall out for a point first up?
Well, you would have thought when you look at the draw, this is if they're going to get a win to progress, this is the game that they would have targeted.
This is Khalid Sebil, chested down by Ahmed Khalil. Ahmad Abdul Rahman. North Koreans again just stand back and watch, confident in their abilities to defend on the edge of the box, and they've done so again.
But they're still alive in this game, not because they're looking like doing anything going forward, but because the UAE are just really lacking that killer punch. So good for 2/3 of the field, cultured, nice touch, good movement, good sequences. A well-coached team, but they get a nosebleed around the penalty area.
Off go the bagpipes again. Feel like I'm in the Highlands of Scotland, that is. Not too many hills in Doha, that's for sure.
Struggling to find a haggis as well.
All too easy for the UAE. The strong, experienced Subek Carter brings it forward and is dragged back by Kim Kuk Jin. Free kick taken quickly. UAE trying to get a shift on. Ismail Al-Hamadi. Attempted little one too. Up go the roars from the UAE fans. They felt they spotted an infringement there. And, well, I suppose you could call that a shot from Walid Abbas.
What it is an indication that, again, they're running out of ideas. This is not going to hurt anyone anytime soon from Yusuf Jaber.
In fact, I think that was an attempted cross, wasn't it?
No,
or was it a shot?
Give it the benefit of the doubt. It was Walid Abbas.
Well, there's no shortage of effort from either side. But, there's no mistaking that there's a lack of quality at both ends of the park. Easily one in the air by Ri Kwang John, and a real up and under to pick out An Chol Hyok. Ball still in play, much to the surprise of Jong Kwang Ik. We're approaching the final quarter of an hour, and it's difficult really to see how or even where the deadlock is going to be broken. Pak Nam Chol out to Kim Kuk Jin. Now Jong Tae Se. It's been peripheral to the action really in the second period. Maybe he'll get a chance here. He's just run the ball out of play. Looks frustrated, doesn't he, Jong Tae Se? Nothing more than a half opening here.
Well, one good piece of play on 8 minutes set up the penalty chance for North Korea. And that seems an awfully long time ago now. It's been a very agrarian form of football from North Korea.
There's another indication of it. Just a hopeful lunge forward, really. UAE playing the more cultured stuff, or at least trying to. This is Khalid Sabel. Might think about a shot here. It's not a bad try. Did it take a touch off the goalkeeper? No, goal kick.
Well, what does Srečko Katanac do here now? Because if they're going to be resigned to shooting from 30 metres, if that's for the team that's trying to play, the best option they've got, he's got to pull a card from somewhere.
Well, he does have a couple of strikers on the bench, Syed Al-Kas and Syed Al-Khatiri. Wonder whether we might see one of those at some stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's official attendance is 3,639.
Quarter of an hour to go. Ahmed Abdul Rahman trying to find Ismail Al-Hamadi, who's just swapped over to the right flank, maybe to try and offer a little bit of variation to Alabit, the whites, even though they're playing in red today. Subed Carter falls back towards halfway, and Hamdan Al-Kamali, who gave away that first half penalty kick, missed by Hong Yong-jo. And finally, Andy, there's going to be some action off the subs bench for the UAE. Srečko Katanac is going to throw on a striker presently.
Well, he has
the moment.
He has changed the flankers around, and it is going to be Ahmed Khalil, who has had a great ticket for this game, actually, Simon. I don't know where you buy tickets like that. Centre field, stand around and watch the game. He had a couple of flashes in the first half, but it's been a nothing contribution since then, either side of them. And it's no surprise Katanec has dragged the number 11, contributed as close to nothing as a player can.
Well, if Ahmed Khalil is the new Samuel Eto'o on that performance, Harps, I'm the new Pele.
Samuel Eto'o can play till he's 100 on that basis.
Saeed Al-Khatiri is the new man, plays for the Al Wada club in the UAE. Maybe he's the missing link. Actually got a couple of games in at the recent FIFA Club World Championship. Still just 22 years of age, one of the new breeds for the UAE.
Scored against Syria in one of their recent warm-up games too. Goal scoring has been, as is evidenced here, a big issue for the UAE.
Surely a handball there against Liang Yong-ri, not spotted by the referee. Nam Chol prods it towards An Chol Hyok. Here is An. Now Kim Kuk-jin. Now Jong Tae-se. Rousing the North Korean fans on the far side. Better football, and they've almost created a half chance here. Jong Tae-se saw his shot blocked by Yusuf Jaber, but that was probably North Korea's best moment in the second half.
Yeah, it was their most convincing moment, and they still were having to bludgeon their way through.
North Koreans are going to make a change shortly. Cho Myung-ho is standing by. And it will be one of the Pak Nam Chols to make way. It's the midfield version. So Cho Myung-ho, who holds a bit of history for North Korean football. He was the first North Korean to play in Russia, as he did with Krylia Sovietov. He actually shared an apartment during his time in Russia with a North Korean minder. He wasn't allowed a television or a refrigerator. Back in North Korea now with Pyongyang City. Apparently the reason for not having the refrigerator was that you could catch a cold from an iced drink. That was the explanation. Ten minutes to go at the Qatar Sports Club. And now break on for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea through Kim Kuk-jin. First touch for the substitute Cho. Kim Kuk-jin.
Well, I reckon the UAE are going to regret their wastefulness. The opportunity they had to nail this game, clearly the team that was looking to play, they've gone back into their shell. There's not a lot happening for the men in red. And I can see North Korea, as poor as they've been in possession, pinching this one. We've got 10 minutes plus injury time to go.
Well, it would be an injustice if that was the case, Andy, but any more defending like that from Yusuf Jaber, and they might have half a shout. They just can't release Jong Tae-se, who wears the familiar scowl. The through ball from Liang Yong-ri.
Well, just is turning into a bit of a rabble for the UAE. I mean, the back four in pushing out for this next play overtook their two central midfielders who were having a Sunday stroll in the park. They completely lost their way, the UAE. So much promise in a lot of what they were doing, and it's coming apart at the seams.
Well kept in play by Cho, but out-muscled by Khalid Sable. Good positive run. Ismail Al-Hamadi, who's remained on the right flank, with Ali Al-Wahabi switching over to the left. And that's the end of the section as you watch this replay for Jong Tae-se. He's going to be replaced by Pak Chol Min, who is a striker from the Rybyongsu club. Once hit a hat-trick in FIFA World Cup qualifying against Mongolia. A tough night for Jong Tae-se.
Yeah, and if he is wounded, by all reports he is, he's battled hard enough, given almost zero off which to feed by his supporting cast. They're still in the game. Heaven help us, they should have converted the penalty on 8 minutes and probably would be in front.
Talking of supporting cast, the choreographer is leading the North Korean fans in the Mexican wave.
Well, I think they can sense it. Both sets of fans can sense the way this game is going. Well, UAE had this game in their grasp. They were in total control. I think over the last 15 minutes, they've contrived to create nothing. Before that, they were shooting from 30 and 40 metres, and it's been a steady decline since.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but I don't think we've had a goalless draw at this Asian Cup yet.
No, plenty of deflected goals. That's been a real theme in the opening games. And not for a moment ashamed to suggest that there's been plenty of excitement in the football contest so far. We've already had one sacked coach. Jose Pesero has been given the red card by Saudi Arabia after their loss to Syria, and that was a pulsating encounter.
Now, Ismail Al-Hamadi has received a kick to the head. I think it was accidental, despite the claims of the UAE supporters. Genuine attempt for the ball. Cho apologises.
And the free kick that's about to come is as good a chance as the UAE are likely to have. Subkhiddin Carter again lines up. This will be a vicious in-swinger.
Can they break the deadlocks, the UAE? Subkhiddin Carter to deliver, and would you believe it's his worst free kick of the night?
Saves his worst for last. I don't reckon this collapse will be at all pleasing to a man who rules with an iron fist. Srečko Katanec.
Well, there's a bit of Arab solidarity in the stands. I can see some Jordan shirts and one or two Bahraini scarves. It's been a real feature of this Asian Cup so far. Lots of fans of all the West Asian nations gathering together and supporting each other. One of the benefits of hosting a major tournament in just the one city. Cho trying to burst forward, and he'll get the free kick for the challenge by Khalid Sable.
Cho deciding it's better to go through than around. Referee gave him a little bit of assistance. There was poor play from Cho. Lost control of that run.
27 fouls in the game, but still no goals. Shade over 4 minutes left. Can North Korea fashion something late on here? They might do. It's away to safety by Hamdan Al-Kamali. Maybe that's all they will need, Andy, just the one opportunity. You've said you've sensed perhaps that that's the way it might end up. Really on tonight's form, you can't see either of them troubling either Iran or Iraq. UAE need to find a goal scorer from somewhere. North Korea need to find a bit of fluency.
Well, they've just stopped playing UAE. I can't find an explanation for it. You'd need to be within the four walls of the dressing room, understand what's going on in this team. And so much talent, which was clearly evident in that first half. No goals to show for it. Nevertheless, you continue on, surely. Well, they've dropped their bundle totally.
There's the corner for North Korea, and it's an easy take for Majid Nasser. He's been almost a spectator throughout the game. Now, Ismail Matar has been dispossessed.
He's caught the flu too.
Far too casually. Brought forward by Ahmad Abdul Rahman. But it's hopeful rather than precise. All their earlier fluency, their combination play has vanished
without a trace.
Handball against John Kwang-ik. Here's Ismail Al-Hamadi, who's probably been the best player on show this evening. He threads it through for the substitute Al-Khatiri. Ismail Matar, will it fall for Al-Hamadi here? Is this a chance? And it's saved at the near post by Ri Myong-guk. But at least they finally force a save out of the North Korean goalkeeper.
Well, at least they did what they were good at in the first half, and that's passing their way into the danger zone. It's the first such move we've seen in probably 20 minutes. Tight angle on Al-Hamadi's effort. He's got the ball now with Carter.
Plenty to aim for in the centre. It's flicked over. Oh, what a save by the goalkeeper. Syed Al-Khatiri with the header. And an acrobatic stop from Ri Myong-guk.
Brilliant work, goalkeeper. Simply brilliant. He saved his team twice. He's had a dodgy game, but he saved his team twice, once in the first half, and that's a piece of brilliance on the goal line.
Final change has been made by Shrutsko Katanet. Salleh Al-Wahabi replaced by Mohammed Al-Shehi, another striker who is known locally as the Ghost for his ability to get in goal-scoring positions. Well, it's a big ask for him to come on and win the game for the UAE. We're very nearly into injury time at the Qatar Sports Club, but finally a bit of excitement. After all the prosaic football we've had over the preceding 20 minutes, belatedly some excitement. 3 minutes of injury time.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be 3 minutes of time.
The long diagonal cross-field ball. Here is Al-Shehi for his first involvement. Back for Subay Carter. Khalid Sable venturing forward. This is Ahmad Abdul Rahman who goes for goal, but not with any great conviction. It was almost a last resort effort.
Shocking effort from a good player. He was running the show in the first half. Amir Abdul Rahman, here's the save again. Ri Myong-guk, that's as good as goalkeeping can get. And he's shown plenty of weaknesses this evening, the North Korean keeper. Not a bad header either there from Syed Al-Khatiri, the substitute. Great pictures those.
Well, we're getting close to the last chance saloon for either of these sides to try and force the issue. given that they are the outsiders in this group. Really, they should be desperate to try and earn the 3 points. Well, Subkhiddin is going to make another substitution. Well, I find this difficult to believe. The game's almost over. And he's bringing off Ismail Mata. 2 substitutions in injury time, deep in injury time. He's barely going to have enough time to get a sweat on. Omar Abdul Rahman.
To me, they're substitutions you make either in desperation or
trying to save the game.
Well, true, or to deflect the questions post-match. Why did you leave blokes on the bench when you could have won it?
Subak Carter goes for goal, and it bounces awkwardly. Well, why not? He's perhaps got the best long-range shooting boots on the field. Baffling substitutions. In fact, it's been a baffling game, Andy, in lots of respects.
Way more questions than answers here at the Qatar Sports Club. I can't remember seeing a team with so much to play for, in such a dominant position, for no reason at all, just stop, as the UAE have done.
Well, the 3 minutes of injury time are up. And I suppose you could say on balance, Andy, given the analysis that we've just talked about, neither team really has deserved to win the game.
Correct.
All over at the Qatar Sports Club. Hong Yong-jo's missed first half penalty proved really to be the biggest talking point. 0-0 it finishes between North Korea and the UAE. Well, a strange sort of a game, really. Not too many opportunities. North Korea sat back, UAE tried to force the issue for large parts of the game. But as you said, Andy Harper, just mystifying as to the way they stopped pressing.
Most of the time, you know, games fluctuate. Either has its period when it's dominant. And you can sit back at the end of the game and say, oh, we had those moments when we looked so good and unfortunately we couldn't score, but then our opponents came back into it and we couldn't play anymore. You look at this game, and this was a game where the UAE were playing all the football, they were creating all the chances after a slow start. And then they weren't being asked any questions whatsoever by North Korea, and UAE just stopped playing. It became a nothing football match from that point on. Both teams had so much to play for. They're one game down in the tournament now, and qualification for the second stage looks as far off as it did 90 minutes ago because they've got Iran and Iraq both to play. This unbelievable stoppage from the UAE when they had so much going for them, so much talent, a zero yield from almost zero effort in the closing 20 minutes. Remarkable to watch, and as far as North Korea were concerned, well, we're watching a team who in large part have just come from the World Cup finals, and they're almost unrecognisable.
Well, there we go. They had the chance in the first half. Hong Yong-jo with the penalty that struck across by Ismail Mata was adjudged to be the man of the match, but there weren't really too many candidates. And as you say, it finishes blank, although at least both teams get a point, and the North Korean fans at least leave happy enough. The UAE supporters, who gave their team great backing tonight, will be less pleased.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. There is a shuttle bus service departing.
It is